Hey writers, it's Megan Barnhart here, and I'm checking in after writing for my first day of NaNoWriMo, and I want to show you the tools that I used while writing and the tools that I'm going to use right now, post-writing. So I'll go ahead and share my screen, and yeah, I survived. That's the first thing I'm excited about. And let me show you what I ended up doing. So I used 750words.com to write. This is a website somebody recommended to me. I now recommend it to everybody. You can start for free. It is $5 a month after that. And I can't tell you why. I don't know the brain science, but for some reason, it's just a really friendly place for me to write my words. So I made the decision that this was going to be how I would draft. This is the software that I use to draft my most recent book, my most recent nonfiction book. I really loved the experience, so I decided to use that again. This is also part of my strategy of beating the blank page. If you haven't watched that video, I recommend you check it out. It's like tips for beating the blank page or something. It's something about blank page, you'll see it. But the first step is really getting into the right mindset. And when I am looking at this site, my brain goes into like, oh, I'm just free writing mode. Like, I'm just getting some words down. It's all good. I'm just free writing. So that really was effective for me. But now, of course, what I need to do is make sure I put this all into my draft doc. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy it all. It tracks your word count. And it will tell you when you reach 750 words. And what I didn't realize, but what I saw typing today, was that it will also tell you when you hit the minimum requirement for NaNo, right? NaNo has taken the 50,000 words and divided them among the 30 days of the month, and then given you a word count goal. And 750words.com will tell you when you've reached that NaNo goal, which is cool. So I'm going to just go ahead and paste it into my draft one doc. I like to write in Google Docs. Again, that makes it feel very easy for me to change things. Nothing is set in stone, but you can, copy and paste into whatever is your preferred drafting spot. Okay, so now I'm going to go check in with my writing planner. The writing planner is a resource that is part of the drafting resource bundle. When you get a copy of Recipe for Drafting, you get all of these editable resources with it. So I've put in today's date, November 1st. My goal was 2,000 words. The actual time I spent was 1 hour, and I'm really happy about this because I crunched some numbers. I use 750 words enough that it has like my writing statistics in there. So I actually looked up my word count and did some math and figured I should be able to write 2,000 words in 1 hour. And in fact, I did that. Phew. In fact, I wrote slightly over 2,000 words. So I'm going to actually grab that word count, 2134, and put that in. So yeah, feels like a really good way to start. Okay. My notes for this, like, to be totally honest, I ran out of action. Like, I envisioned that my first chapter would end with the two girls leaving their house. I wasn't yet at my word count, so I just kept going. And I kept going, like, I asked myself, how can I still get to a moment at the end of the chapter that will be like a transition? Because I wanted to end the chapter with like crossing a threshold, I'll put it that way. So at first I envisioned it was going to be the threshold of the girls leaving their home for the last time ever. But I passed that point, wasn't yet at 2,000 words, and was like, okay, I got to keep going. So what's the next threshold? And it was crossing the threshold of the train, stepping onto the train. So I asked, how can I still end with a threshold? And I was able to do that. So I really I mean, the reason I'm writing this down is not because I necessarily have to write that scene again. This might help me when I'm editing. If I am tempted to change the end of the chapter, I'll remember that my intention was I wanted to have some kind of threshold at the end. But also, whenever I'm working on one project, I'm aware of working on my writing as a whole. And I'm sure this comes from years of being a writing coach. I'm always encouraging my clients to look out for what they're using that works so they can use it again. So this is a place where I like to track my writing process if I can. But the notes section might also be where I'd write down like things that, like lots of gaps, need to research, place more. Like there were a lot of things where I had to use brackets, which is a strategy I describe in detail in Recipe for Drafting, but I had a lot of brackets and gaps around place. Like I really don't know the geography. So place / geography. And that's something I'll do not in a drafting session, but in some other time. Okay. Next time I want to write chapter 2. Okay. And you might go like, well, that's pretty obvious. Just wrote chapter 1. But my drafting process is actually to skip around a fair amount. I go through all the details of that in Recipe for Drafting, but I really like to write the climax as one of the first scenes I write, and I like to write the final scene. The reason I want to go on to chapter 2 is because I feel like I can really clearly picture it. I have it like in my planning doc. I know what is going to be happening. And in fact, my original chapter 1 changed some. So I'm going to now incorporate those things into chapter 2. So I just feel like I've got some good momentum on that. All right. That is my day 1 update. If you are working on NaNoWriMo, I hope you'll leave a comment, or if you've done it before and you have tips and strategies for me, I am all ears. This is my very first NaNoWriMo. I spent a lot of time thinking about how to write novels. I teach other people how to write novels, but this is my first time attempting something longer than like a 13,000 word starter chapter book for fiction. So I'm enjoying it so far, and whatever you're working on, I wish you happy writing.